All right, hello and welcome to this sculpting session. You can see just the impressive figure that I have. I'm using some Chavant medium NSP clay, and I have some tools, a kind of cylinder that comes up that will represent this torso. Maybe like this. Then I'm going to do it a little bit flatter. Just going to lay in some clay for the shoulders. So right now I'm kind of being thin one way. The pelvis is tilted a little bit this way, and then the shoulders are a little bit back. And so I want to get that. Let's go ahead and add in a little bit more. Then I'll just add in an indication of the neck and the arms coming out. So I'll either need to go grab some more clay, because I like doing a little bit larger scale. Really simple, thinking very two-dimensionally at this point. And then start to lay in things like the curve of the spine. So this is gonna be making kind of an S curve right here. And I'm not afraid to push the gesture of the pose a little bit farther than what I'm seeing. Makes a more interesting sculpture. Like I'd rather there be too much of a twist and too much of a curve in the spine. I would take the gesture over the anatomy, and that's just my personal preference. To go in and draw some guidelines, so the shoulders are coming this way, pelvis, and then straight, pretty straight, going through the rib cage, and then most of the curving happens in this lower back area. So I'm just gonna pick it up a little bit to see it a little bit better. The gesture, this twist, gonna go in and say pinch there, here as well. For that triangle of the sacrum, trying to get some of these curves in the right place. And I'm using that center line as a guideline, outside silhouette right here. And this arm's coming down. I'm gonna give a little bit more of an indication of this. This part of the back comes out quite a bit. Rib cage in there. Belly coming down. And if you guys are, you want more of the lesson type things, I hope you'll check out the Proco Figure Sculpting Fundamentals course. It's more structured, it's more like lessons. Be sure to check that out, or the portrait sculpting course. Helps me out, helps us out over at Proco. I'd really like to help sculpture grow. It's difficult, but when you can finish something, it's just so impressive, I think. So I'm just gonna take some clay, push out this front part, and exaggerate that twist. Like, okay, this muscle attachment is still going to go from the pelvis up to the rib cage. So even if I twist the rib cage way around more than any model could, I can still follow that anatomy to the right location so that it looks right, even though it's not exactly like the reference. What I'd like to do eventually is get some Wi-Fi in my studio space, and then I can do some live, YouTube live or Instagram live. And so let's see, here's where I'm at right now. Let me give it a turnaround, so that you guys can see rib cage is coming down like that. Angle of the shoulders just about like that. Curving is happening in this area. Add some mass to the glutes. Same thing on the other side. The guidelines every once in a while. Thinking about that box of the pelvis and the egg of the rib cage. And there's quite a bit of mass in the belly right there. Fat around the belly. Stretches on this side so you can't see it quite as much, and hold the sculpture right up to it. They're too high, so I'm just going to lower the shoulders a little bit. The pecs. Should I add in the head? Bridgman style block in. To do that, I'm just going to get a good attachment of clay, flat pancake, so it looks like head is turned quite a bit. And then I'm just going to build it out nice and blocky, large at this point, but that's okay. Take some off the top. Add some to the back of the head. If you're doing this torso study, sometimes, it's fairly easy to get the torso right, but then connecting the torso to the legs, as well as connecting the top of the torso to the head, those are just kind of tricky areas. Same thing with the torso to the arms. If you just get really good at doing a torso, but you're not good at making the head accurate, your sculptures won't look right. Have it relate well the rest of the forms. And then this is kind of tilted down. More mass in the chin, thickness to the head, simplified head on the torso. Definitely gives me more information as to what's happening with the pose. Maquette or finished sculpture. Try trying to touch up some areas, start to add in some anatomy. We're already almost 30 minutes in. Visual information, if you have more clay there, it's harder to change things quickly. But sometimes you can't see when something's off until you add a little bit more information. I probably should go to a different angle. Yeah, there's definitely some thickness back in this back area. Trapezius muscles, the back. This comes down and then turns into the pelvis. Scapula, where the shoulder is, right here. And then it zigs this way as it comes towards the back, and then it zags down. This one might be coming down more this way, out more. Muscles that go down the back. Thing on the other side, and this one's going to be squished, compressed on this side. Bends around. Padded muscle right here. The oblique and the shoulder. Top of the shoulder right here. More exaggerated than what I actually have. So let's come thin those out a little bit. Let's see the head. And then the transition on the back fans out quite a bit because of the muscles of the back. And then on the inside, it transitions a little bit more medially, so towards the middle. You know, you can see the back muscles coming down. Now I'm just checking, just trying to compare the sculpture with the reference. Muscles of the back. This one stretches out. Pinch and stretch. And then I might look at it from above just to check the rib cage. So this front part needs to come forward more. And if you actually look at the lesson, there was a recent lesson on the sculpting the rib cage, tapers as it moves towards the back. With the photo references for right now, I'm just focusing on the back, you know, the side, the front, and maybe this side. One step at a time, not getting ahead of yourself. I'm gonna stretch out this arm a little bit. Shoulders wrapping over. It's hard to get those shoulders to feel right. It's taking some time to try to get those to feel right. Bumps in the anatomy right here. Abs, though I don't really have abs. And this shoulder, I feel like it starts in more than what I have. Pretty often you want to draw in the guidelines. So here's where it's at, that bottom of the rib cage, bump right there, because it's stretching that area. The bicep over here, the tricep is coming under, something like that. Chest is there's enough muscle in there that it's kind of spilling over the clavicle, so it's a very soft transition. Kind of comes in a little bit right here. Concave areas like this neck, I might come in with a loop tool. So the sternum right here, clavicle right here, and then the mastoid process of the temporal bone is back here behind the ear. And so that's just a really nice muscle, especially in this pose. So this flexed muscle just gives some more information on what's happening with the neck. I mean, there's still quite a bit of work to be done. Okay, now I am going to start to look at some other angles, get the rib cage feeling a little bit better, more rounded, full right here in this area. The details, and then this trapezius, or not the trapezius, the latissimus dorsi muscle, this kind of wing muscle that comes out the back, skin fold that comes above this other, the oblique, and this one blends into the oblique, and the other one stays a sharp transition. And then let's see, this tucks in actually. I see a sharp transition inside the armpit, and remove some clay, and then it softens as it wraps around the arm. This oblique kind of bows out quite a bit. Tensor fascia latae, it's coming out right there. The belly is squeezed on that side. It's really pushing out that oblique. And I also feel like this belly fat has a little bit more to it. Just got a little cushion in the abdominal region. Let's see. You know, I make it blocky for this Bridgman style head, but then I come in and I try to round it off a little bit. That head is tricky to get right, so it's great to practice this. The difficult things is what you want to practice. So practice the tough stuff, the difficult areas. So I'm just going around and looking at the reference, looking at the sculpture. Just adding little pieces of clay where I feel like it's lacking. I feel like my face is a little bit wider, tapering towards the front and widest at the back. With this Bridgman style block in. Scapula is kind of tilted out more. And the trapezius muscles are coming out quite a bit. Bump for the 7th cervical vertebrae. Comes down to the bottom of the neck. That's an important landmark. Quite rounded for the back. I just want to say a huge thank you to everybody that supports me in any way on Patreon or getting the courses or purchasing artwork or just anything. I can only do this because people have found it worthwhile. I just really appreciate anybody in any way that's helped. I think $150 for a portrait sculpting course, that's a big investment. So that's one of the reasons that I try to give away a lot of what I do for free. So in the courses, the Proco 3D YouTube channel, there's so much free content because I was there. Like I was there watching Proco videos. I was going to college. I didn't have money to get the Proco Anatomy course. I would just watch the free stuff. And I got a lot of information from the free stuff. And so I was very grateful that they provide that. And I'm happy to, provide free content and free lessons for people that aren't able to purchase the whole course. I'm just so grateful for those that have supported in any way. There's not a credential system in place yet for that type of learning, but I think if you took the things that I go over in the courses that I put out and stuff like that, if you did that and you did the assignments, built up a portfolio, that you could be better off, spend less money and have a more impressive portfolio than a lot of people that go to college. So at the same time, when the education is getting worse, they're charging more and more for it, and I don't think it's a sustainable model. I hope people wake up. Too bad. Education's so important, and it's such a pleasure to learn. So I hope that there's a move away from traditional education and a move towards home-based education for that gap to be filled and for people to start seriously learning. So we're a little bit over an hour into this torso, and I think I'm going to leave it right about there for now. So I might come back and finish it. I say that about a lot of different things. But even if you just followed the process and got a torso sculpture that's about at this stage, I think that's a good stage to get to. Thank you guys for watching. I appreciate it. Have any questions or would like to see anything in the future, please comment below and I'd love to hear about that. Thank you guys, and I'll see you in the next one.